all the way. I don't know about Nandi, but at least I know from Bomet all the way. There has been a hue and cry on the low bonuses that were paid. But Madam Speaker, if you listen to county, it's called COG, the County of Council of Governors, COG, Council of Governors. Not even one statement has been released by these governors offering an explanation why farmers have been paid low bonuses. Policy issues from our CS Agriculture, no statement has been issued at all. My own governor, the governor of Nyamira, nobody has spoken on this matter, low bonuses to our farmers. And yet, if you go to the budget, Madam Speaker, agriculture is not given adequate budget allocation, Madam Speaker. So this, if you give the farmers an opportunity to meaningfully participate in budget-making process, I'm sure they will put a very strong case, Madam Speaker, why there should be enhanced, where there should be an enhanced budget in agriculture, Madam Speaker. Because we used to be told when we were growing up that agriculture is the backbone of our economy. Madam Speaker, if it's the backbone of our economy, how do you pay a farmer tea bonus of 12 shillings when the cost he has used for picking the tea, the fertilizer, the tilling itself is more than the 12 shillings, meaning they are running at a loss, Madam Speaker. And then the government is mum, yet during the campaign, this matter was given a lot of prominence by His Excellency the President. He said he was going to fix agriculture. But now that agriculture is not working, now that there is a lot of pain for our farmers, I've not had any pronouncements from His Excellency the President, Madam Speaker. If we have effective public participation, Madam Speaker, the farmers themselves will have a good say on what policies, what steps should be taken in budget-making process, Madam Speaker, so that the farmer can also have a smile in their faces. The money they are getting cannot even enable them to pay SHA annually, the way it is being proposed by our government. And as I conclude, Madam Speaker, I'm very happy that finally counties that have never known social halls may finally have a benefit of having social halls, Madam Speaker. When we grew up, we used to hear about, is it Ofafa, Jericho Hall in Nairobi. I'm looking forward to also seeing in Nyamira a social hall, Madam Speaker, where people can go and their facilities, the governor can budget for a cup of tea, juice, and we rename it after our own heroes. Maybe it should be George Anyona Hall in Nyamira, Madam Speaker. So the contents of this bill, I dare say, Madam Speaker, are very progressive. It may have a few problems here and there, but Senator Professor Kamar, if we sit down and discuss, Madam Speaker, we can find a way of taking, taking on board the concerns of honorable senators. We enrich it, but at least let us demonstrate to our courts that we have been reading the decisions that have come from courts on this issue of public participation. And then we also make our oversight well anchored in legislation. At times, Madam Speaker, asking for documents from our respective counties becomes a quarrel between the senator and the governor. It's like you're committing a crime when you specifically want to get documents on some matters that relate to expenditure of public money. It's our taxes. My taxes end up going to the county of Nyamira, county of Kisumu, and other counties, Madam Speaker. So if you are spending public resources, you should happily be able to account, Madam Speaker, on how you have spent those resources. So with those many remarks, Madam Speaker, I fully support this bill, and I hope when it's finally enacted, the person who will be the biggest beneficiary will not be we senators, but the citizens of the Republic of Kenya, our bosses, the people, Madam Speaker, who have elected us to have this forum of speaking, as I'm doing this afternoon. I support and congratulations Senator Ledama and Senator Kisang. Thank you.
Senator Beatrice Ogola.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me an opportunity. And from the word onset, I want to resonate with the colleagues that have been on the floor, and particularly because we have to enhance oversight and accountability in the counties for which the Senate is there, because by enhancing oversight and accountability, Madam Speaker, we will actually be strengthening the main role of the Senate. Madam Speaker, this oversight, I support this bill. One, that this bill will help to improve efficiency and effectiveness in the counties. That through this bill, we'll be promoting financial accountability. Madam Speaker, as I begin to support this bill, I also want to celebrate and not mourn the life of my fallen party leader, Jacom Baba, the former Prime Minister, the great man that created more greatness even in his death. Madam Speaker, I say I want to celebrate him because this is a man who lived his life. Not many people reach 80 years old. As we mourn him, we celebrate some of the values he lived for, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in the later days of the life granted to Raila Amolo Odinga, our former Prime Minister, when you watch the later videos where I was speaking, he emphasized that we should always think as Kenyans before we think about ourselves. And I'm beginning to think, even as I was mourning, that we need now to celebrate this man rather than mourn him. Come to think of it, Madam Speaker, that contrary to our expectations, especially from communities we come from, Baba was very specific on the hours that he should take when he goes to rest. There is the talk of the 72 hours, that this is a man who wanted Kenyans to move on. That this is a man that wanted this republic to move on even as we bid bye to him. What more greatness can we observe in this man? And Madam Speaker, why I celebrate this man is that he preached that we should be united. He preached a unity of purpose. In his life, he preached to the people closer to him and by deeds on inclusivity, that this is a man who, given a chance, Baba thought about Kenya rather than think about the community from which he came from. Even when he had an opportunity by the governments which he supported to make appointments, we could only see a Baba that thought about all the communities in this republic. That reflected on his cabinet, if he were to have one, that he would actually have all communities in this republic be represented in his government. Madam Speaker, I celebrate a man who preached forgiveness, that he was able to work with both foes and allies. Madam Speaker, not many of us, after competitions, would even tolerate meeting their competitors. Come to think of it, Madam Speaker, a number of us cannot even accommodate people they imagine to be competing over very personal things. But this is a man who was able to take 2 steps back and say, Kenya is bigger than himself. He wanted to demonstrate that he had a cause in this country. Madam Speaker, I celebrate his tolerance and patience. I celebrate his standing out for the less privileged or standing out for the marginalized. No wonder in our party we talk about social justice. Madam Speaker, look at the constituency Baba insisted on representing in this republic. Baba is somebody who would be elected in any constituency, if not all in this country. But he yearly went to represent Kibra, Langata, the place where people think we have the downtrodden, because that was what Baba believed in. Madam Speaker, I celebrate this man, and I cry for the people who lost their lives during his funeral, because, Madam Speaker, no Kenyan needed to die, because Baba's death was equivalent to so many deaths. And that is why I'm not mourning him, I'm only celebrating him. Madam Speaker, I remember as I celebrate this man, the lifelong tears that dripped from this man all his adult life. Madam Speaker, what could be the symbol of these tears? That Baba lived his life crying for this republic. He was crying for justice. He was crying for all the downtrodden. But I'm happy, and I want to congratulate Kenyans for mourning Baba in a honorable way, that they came out in their thousands. Madam Speaker, I've never seen such crowds in my life. That they came out in their large numbers, but those were very peaceful crowds. So I celebrate him because this is a man who was honored in life, but more, Madam Speaker, honored even in death. We celebrate a patriot. I celebrate a nationalist. I celebrate a man who gave his life for the sake of Kenyans. Madam Speaker, I said he preached forgiveness by what he did. And I want to ask everybody in this republic that forgiveness is actually a strength and not a weakness. Weak people don't forgive. It is only the strong, Madam Speaker, that forgive. Madam Speaker, I know you want to guide me. As we celebrate this man, Madam Speaker, who gave his life to this republic, because, Madam Speaker, the family of Baba had long sacrificed him to this republic. But, Madam Speaker, let me come back to the bill. And I congratulate my leader, the minority whip, none other than the senator of Narok, and the Senator Kipsang, for the County Oversight and Accountability Bill 2024. That as a Senate, we can only enhance county oversight. That we must strengthen oversight. But even as we do that, my leader, I do not think it is for lack of the physical facilities that public participation is not done well. And so, even as we focus on the infrastructure of getting physical halls, Madam Speaker, let us enhance the bill in more ways than just thinking of counties putting up social halls for public participation, because I can see even the abuse most of them will do. From here, everybody will be putting multi-billion halls. Let us focus on the actual oversight. Let us strengthen the Senate in oversighting counties. And, Madam Speaker, this must also include members of the public. We call upon members of the public that other than the stipulated oversight authorities like the Senate, the public must also be watchful down where they are in doing oversight, even as we improve efficiency and effectiveness in the counties, Madam Speaker. Let us be more objective.
Honorable Senators, it is now 6:30 p.m. Time to adjourn the Senate. Senator Ogola, you still have 9 minutes when we resume. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until tomorrow, Wednesday, 29th October 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
Mr. Speaker, as to where and how they may wish to do their investment and what kind of money is anticipated, it is anticipated that we're looking at. So that, Mr. Speaker, sir, things, therefore, like investment in battery storage and battery recycling, critical components. Because if you understand what's happening around the world, Mr. Speaker, sir, when the EV battery is run down, there are now people who are not just tossing it anymore, they're now trying to do recycling. And if we as a country stop talking foolishness about having less investment, but rather understand that it's a glorious opportunity to train some of our young people so that in addition to the investment, you have job skills and job training for new sectors, new opportunities for employment, sir, then things like the recycling are things that we have to be doing. But Mr. Speaker, sir, I spoke earlier about the level of anger I felt on this question of the abject untruth about our treatment of homeowners. I came to this House, sir, on the issue of the householders' right to renewable energy. I piloted the bill in this place. You were in the chair, Mr. Speaker, sir. And what was it about? It was because of the fact that we stood and we watched what was happening, that people with large pockets, deep pockets, stretching down to the ankle, were able to say, look, I can put how much ever amount of money into an investment. And so they had gone full steam ahead. And they were getting preferential treatment above and beyond the ordinary man who was struggling to refinance a mortgage in order to make sure that he could get a little $20,000 to put the PV on his roof, or a little $15,000 to get the PV on his roof. And we said, no, let us fast track some of these ordinary people, because the island is small. The island is not getting any larger, sir. So therefore, there is going to come to a point where there's only so much solar photovoltaic that can go onto our grid. And in the circumstances then, there was no battery storage either. So therefore, Mr. Speaker, sir, you can't just keep pumping more and more renewable energy onto the grid. You have to have battery storage to complement it. And we said, look, let us make sure that we democratize. Hear the word. We democratize this process so that as we create a new sector, we do not once again commit the failed practice, the practice that I, Kerry Simmons, despise, of placing all the opportunity in a new sector in the hands, Mr. Speaker, sir, of those players with large pockets, where the ordinary Barbadian is left to stand by and watch people walk the streets with gold. Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, we did that. We did that when we were a sugar-based economy. That was the nature of the sugar plantation, Mr. Speaker, sir. They had some who were wealthy beyond measure and beyond belief, and there was a vast majority with nothing. With nothing. In fact, sir, the laws of the country were so structured that you were nothing either. You were chattel, goods to be bought and sold. Your ancestors and mine and the honorable leader of the oppositions. Mr. Speaker, sir, then we transitioned from that agrarian-based economy and had a tourism sector-based economy. And again, Mr. Speaker, sir, the haves in the tourism sector, Mr. Speaker, have plenty. and there are others, sir, who are in the tourism sector, day and night toiling, and they do nothing but the most menial of tasks. The society and economy must be democratized. Mr. Speaker, sir, we then turn away not completely from tourism, but we introduce a new sector, international financial services, driving multiple millions of dollars. And again, Mr. Speaker, sir, there are those who are replete with splendor. And others, Mr. Speaker, sir, as he goes behind the Speaker's throne now to get information because he came here bankrupt of knowledge, bankrupt of understanding, armed only with an intent, Mr. Speaker, sir, to humbug the government in here with foolishness that is irrelevant. I hope I've not attributed improper motives to him. I speak in our historical record. Mr. Speaker, sir, the international financial services sector was the same thing. It had the same definitions. And the society can only continue without having massive convulsion for so long if it is that we go this route all the time. So yes, as Minister of Energy, I felt it was important to take steps, sir, for us to be democratizing energy opportunity in Barbados. And we came with the householders' right to renewable energy. Now, there are obviously those players who didn't fancy it. And there are those people who chose not to move with great alacrity on sourcing the battery storage, which is absolutely critical to support new investments coming on stream. Do not fool yourself for 5 minutes, Mr. Speaker, sir, that there are not multimillionaires in Barbados who feel hard done by when they're told that they have to share this new pie with ordinary black-skinned boys and girls in Fitz Village and in Redmond Village and in Hoyts Village, Mr. Speaker, sir. They may not say that to you directly, but they feel hard done by. But government has to intervene in order to ensure balance and fairness in the economy. And I will not apologize for saying that it is an abject and complete untruth. It is a baseless and malicious untruth to suggest that this government, sir, did not go where no other government in the Eastern Caribbean has gone, which is to say that we will fast-track householders, sir, to the best of our ability and give them an automatic right to renewable energy. Not that you got to wait in line for any committee to meet and then determine that you could get or you can't get. What was the criteria, Mr. Speaker, sir? That you go to the Ministry of Energy and you give them your name. You go to the Ministry of Energy, you produce an ID, Mr. Speaker, sir. You give them your contact information, show them your light bill, which is proof of the fact that the name and the ID suit and meet, correspond with the light bill. And Mr. Speaker, sir, give us a measurement of your roof size and the system size that you want to put on top of the roof. 2.5 kilowatts, 5 kilowatts, 10 kilowatts, what it may be, and then you were automatically positioned to get the license. There's no other government in the Eastern Caribbean that has done that, sir. Not one. Not one. And the miscreants in the Democratic Labour Party, unread, unprepared, disinterested, indifferent, incapable, parading up and down, that they want power to do what? To do what, Mr. Speaker, sir? When the wicked carried us away in captivity, they required of us a song. But how do you sing the Lord's song in a strange land? And that is the land I want to create. A strange land, Mr. Speaker. We are bred and born in Barbados. If you're in Oistins, you should not benefit from $5 million in capital investment in Oistin. If you're Barbados as an ordinary man with a boarded shingle house, you should not get any renewable energy opportunity and you should not be fast-tracked. If our bar had not been burnt and his ashes scattered, Mr. Speaker, sir, he would be turning somersaults in his grave. Came back today, he wouldn't recognize the party he formed. Couldn't. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir, today we have 107 megawatts of solar PV on our grid. And it is true, we have about 300 more waiting to be processed. And as strongly as I feel about the fact that we need to go further and faster, and I also feel strongly about the fact that I know in my heart of hearts that there are those out there who have not necessarily been as cooperative with the government as they should be. I also appreciate, Mr. Speaker, sir, that there are some sincere challenges. My friend, the honourable member for Christchurch West, when I was minister, used to come to the point with me where we would play good cop and bad cop. There's a fact.
We still do.
He would say some of the most direct things to the utility in an effort, sir, to get that foreign-owned entity to respond to Barbadians in the way that we need them to respond. And I, Mr. Speaker, sir, would have them to try to placate and say, but he is right, but you're only driving him now to the place where he can behave even worse. At least try to meet us halfway, man. Many times we did that in the discussions. Mr. Speaker, sir, but one of the challenges we have is that there was no regulatory environment. Oh, you are an attorney at law. I don't have to tell you. You know. Sir, you could not do anything. You could come to pass a piece of legislation in Barbados. But then if there are no regulations to the legislation that prescribe how individuals are supposed to do certain things, when they are to do those things, how they go about doing those things, who they answer to, then, Mr. Speaker, sir, you have done nothing. The Democratic Labour Party passed on a government to us in which the energy sector had no regulatory environment. I say it again, there was not a single regulation. The leader of the opposition, Mr. Speaker, sir, an attorney at law by profession, must understand the significance of that. He has never gone on record in this House, never parted lips in this House where the people sent him, sir, to speak to the absence of the regulatory environment, sir, to speak to the chronic failure of the Democratic Labour Party government, but he rushed to embrace those who failed the people of Barbados. In addition to that, Mr. Speaker, sir, another real challenge was that we need to have new legislation that speaks, or needed to have new legislation that spoke to critical technologies. And let me say to you again, Mr. Speaker, sir, what are some of the critical technologies? Because we're talking about a renewable energy sector that the government of Barbados is building from ground up. And yes, we may have greater solar penetration than any other country in the Eastern Caribbean. Yes, we have a larger renewable energy bus fleet than any other country in the Eastern Caribbean. Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, we can point to achievement, but what we cannot be is complacent about the fact that we are building a sector from the ground zero up, and that it takes time and it takes effort. What are some of the issues? You can't talk about battery renewable energy, Mr. Speaker, solar photovoltaics, or wind energy. They're intermittent. There ain't always a windy day. There's not always a sunny day. Today, sir, is a sunny day. And if you had a solar PV system, your roof or whatever, wherever it's mounted, will be generating energy. But there's going to be no sunshine tonight. And so therefore, Mr. Speaker, sir, the energy generated now, if it is to be used purposefully, would have to be used and stored somewhere, Mr. Speaker, so that the honourable member for St. Thomas, when she get home tonight and flip the switch, could be able to have power dispatched to her residence so that she could get the benefit of that which was stored. And you want to have that, sir, in the Queen Elizabeth Hospital so that the surgeons who are operating tonight doing an emergency surgery, sir, will not be in a situation where they ain't got enough power that has to be dispatched to them, and so on and so forth around the island. But Mr. Speaker, sir, how do you store the electricity if you don't have any batteries to store them in? How do you store the power generated if you don't have any batteries? Battery storage, I said on the floor of this House before, and I say again, had been a major challenge to us. And the regulatory environment on what we do with regard to battery storage, sir, what are the conditions that they are kept in, who is licensed, and how you get a license for battery storage, what are the requirements of the battery storage operator, sir, all of that is silent because there was no regulatory environment to govern any of those things when we took office. We had to build that out from ground up. Mr. Speaker, sir, when done, you have to decommission these things. How do you go about decommissioning it? Hold your head, honorable leader of the opposition. Hold your head like if you got a migraine. Not that you have a migraine, it's that you were absent of thought. And these things are now colliding with the four corners of your head. You should have known it. If you were interested in leading the country, you would have put yourself in a situation where you were prepared. Hold your belly and ball. I will not run away from confronting you with the policy issues that you shy away from. You could curse all through the night, I don't care. Go all about Barbados cursing. You come in here, you can hold your belly and ball. So slacken your tie, loosen your belt, shift from cheek to cheek and get comfortable. No start. Mr. Speaker, sir, ownership and operation of microgrids all around the world now. The renewable energy phenomenon is allowing people to detach themselves from reliance on the utility, in this case, the Barbados Light and Power. These things are not being discussed in Barbados because the Democratic Labour Party and their minions and acolytes on the airwaves don't want to talk about that. They want to treat this country as though it's 1960. 1966 or 1965, Mr. Speaker. So let us have a discussion about the water flowing at the standpipe. People around the world are themselves from reliance on a utility. People around the world, Mr. Speaker, sir, let us use a district in Barbados, a place like Coverley and Christchurch, where you could have your own grid. And within that district, Mr. Speaker, sir, electricity is being produced and dispatched from place to place within the community. And not a fella connected to the light and power. That doesn't happen now, but that's happening elsewhere. And our purpose and aim, if we are to emancipate this country from reliance on a utility that is not moving satisfactorily quickly in defense of the interests of the people, Mr. Speaker, sir, is the microgrid technology. But there was not a single piece of regulatory work done on it. I know wherever I speak, because these are the things I had to confront and start when I was a minister, Mr. Speaker. I know wherever I speak. And then the sale, dispatch, and supply via the microgrids. Wireless transmission of electricity, sir. Every year, at this time of year, and beginning from June or thereabouts, all of us sit down and say, oh Lord, please spare us. We don't want the big storm to come through. And every day, we drive from point A to point B in Barbados and we pass wires in the sky on some old poles that the utility refuses to change out. The old poles that I saw outside my house, Mr. Speaker, sir, when a little boy, still there. Not a change to it. It may be leaning like the Tower Pizza, but it's still there. Some of them weren't eaten, still there. And around the world, Mr. Speaker, sir, people are moving to wireless transmission via a grid that facilitates that. Not a word comes out of the Democratic Labour Party on what the future of Barbados will look like in these regards. Why? Why is it that there is only one voice in the country, sir? The people's choice voice. I know why. Because, as I told you, there's a loud whisper going around the community. When Labour leads, Bajans succeed. But, Mr. Speaker, sir, we had to create a regulatory environment to allow for these things, to allow us to take that next step into what the future of Barbados must look like. And therefore, sir, we had to come with a vision and a plan. It isn't anything that is hidden, Mr. Speaker, sir. I invite any honourable member or anyone within the sound of my voice being carried, sir, outside of this chamber, to go and look at the Energy Transition Investment Plan. That the honourable member, sir, looks stargazed, looks as though this is new to him, looks as though, Mr. Speaker, sir, he ain't had a clue that these things was happening. It's not my fault. There is more to it than putting on a pair of old slippers, failing to cream your foot so that you assume an appearance of being impoverished, and walking about in somebody's constituency. Hide the $200,000 motor car under a tree and walk about. When done, get the $200,000 motor car, turn on the air condition, and back to life as usual. Don't get vexed. I say nothing but truth. I say nothing but truth. Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, we also had to create a regulatory environment to allow for independent power producers in Barbados. Independent people, not the government, not the utility. The honourable member for Christchurch West, the honourable member for Christchurch South, for Christchurch, sorry, St. James South, and others who say, I want to produce my own electricity. And I want, Mr. Speaker, to store my own electricity. And I want, Mr. Speaker, sir, to sell it. And as I indicated, Mr. Speaker, sir, there are some who know looking at microgrids, all independently of the utility. But beyond those challenges, Mr. Speaker, sir, government also had to confront some structural issues, because there was, in fact, a slow pace of accessing storage and ability to access it at practical cost. I was the second of the energy ministers in this administration. The honourable member for Christchurch East was the first. And he, sir, would have confronted the question of the fact that we moved the world, sir. In fact, it may have been more me than him. The Russia-Ukraine war started and during my time. And every country on planet Earth, Russia used access to gas as a political lever. Keep one mouth shut, or I will shut off the gas pipe. Europe said, oh Lord, we can't rely on them, we got to get gas from somewhere. And as we all do, we turn to our friends in the United States of America, or those who we hope to be our friends in the United States of America. And Mr. Speaker, sir, the United States of America says, look, well, this is an unprecedented pot of gold. I can sell all the gas that we have to the Europeans. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Let us marshal all that we can move. But then you got some little specks in the Caribbean Sea named St. Lucia and Barbados and Dominica and St. Vincent and Grenada. Little specks. Dominica got 70,000 people. Barbados struggling with 260 or 270, and so on and so forth. And you know what we were told, Mr. Speaker, sir? The same thing we were told in COVID. Boy, we would love to help you, but you order small. We got to deal with the big ones first. So you can stand back and wait. The Democratic Labour Party, sir, does not raise its voice. I ain't asking for the boy to help the government. I'm asking for a voice to be raised on matters of principle. When the government of Barbados and the governments of this region stand together on issues, sir, that threaten the well-being socially and economically of the people of the Caribbean, the Democratic Labour Party, sir, remains silent. No collaboration under this administration. It is possible, sir, to hate the Prime Minister more than you love your country. It is possible to hate the Prime Minister more than you love your country. Then the other concern we have, Mr. Speaker, sir, is what can only be called the lag of the regulator. Regulatory lag, the slowness of the regulator. And I am always very loath to speak to this issue. But as I am going to be candid with the House, and as the leader of the opposition wants to beg for a tutorial, he will get one. The government, Mr. Speaker, sir, has first of all, no interest in being in any position where we are seen to be determining the actions of the regulator or directing the regulator to do anything. If we did that, Mr. Speaker, sir, we would be told that we are being arbitrary, we are being discretionary, we are being unreasonable. That has a special meaning in law, as you know, Mr. Speaker, sir, and that it is an improper administrative act encroaching or in an area by the minister that the minister should not be in. There's one thing the leader of the opposition, I will agree on. He would get up and say so. He would get up and say so. Doesn't usually have much to say on anything, but the little bit of admin law that he got in his head, he was saying, that's an opportunity now for me to score some points. They're acting in an arbitrary way, and I know the law. And he would be wanting, sir, to quote some of the landmark cases. For example, Lord Diplock and the Council of Civil Service Unions, Mr. Speaker, sir. He would want to be quoting Lord Diplock. I don't think, Mr. Speaker, sir, that he would miss an opportunity to go to England. Equally, sir, I think there's a case in Jamaica in 1973, I believe it is, Kingston Wharves and the Port Authority, where the Port Authority was empowered to determine what would be a fair return on investment for the investor. And the court held it was not the role of or the purview of a minister or any entity other than the port to get into that. And the minister can't come into those matters and replace the Port Authority with his own interests and his own opinions. We will be hearing all of that law, and it is good law. So the government has no interest in getting into that with the FTC. That is the regulator. But, Mr. Speaker, sir, the regulator, therefore, it is correct to say, has to be treated as independent and respectfully so. We have to accept its quasi-judicial role. But we all hear, we all feel the agony, sir. The regulator taking too long. You hear it all around Barbados. The regulator conducting studies and assessing models. Mr. Speaker, sir, the regulator is working with us in building a sector from the ground up. And let us understand why it is necessary, sir, that while we may want to have faster movement, government has to be mindful of the balance that the regulator must have with regard to public welfare and well-being. Public well-being on one hand has to be balanced against the financial interests of an investor on the other. And I give you an example of what I'm speaking about, Mr. Speaker. Wind energy has to be part of the energy mix in Barbados. Not much talk is done about it. Again, we do not expect much talk to be done about it coming from a Democratic Labour Party, sir, because we understand that there's no intellectual work being done there. But there has to be an energy mix in the country. It can't only be that everybody going down the road with the fossil fuel, with the photovoltaics. There are other technologies which we would wish to deploy. Photovoltaics is intermittent. There are others, sir, which can support, even though they too are intermittent. Wind is one of them. But what are the public welfare considerations that the regulator has to look at? Sir, when you're talking about wind energy, Mr. Speaker, sir, first thing you got to do is to have a study so as to ensure that if I say that this landmark area that you want to put the investment in is appropriate for the investment, that the public, sir, will not be disadvantaged because there is, in fact, an inappropriate area place for wind to be generated, and they're generating it, sir, at a consequential, because it is inappropriate, they're generating it at a cost that is hurting the pocket of the public. So you do the wind study. But the wind study, Mr. Speaker, sir, has to run for 12 months. Anywhere in the world that you're doing a wind study, it got to be 12 months. So there's no way in which you can make 12 months 6 because you want the regulator to go faster. There's no way, Mr. Speaker, so that you can make 12 months 3 because you want the regulator to get through the process faster. And the regulator, based on the study, must also then have other considerations of a public welfare nature. What is the environmental impact? I'm going to kill birds. It keeping too much noise. How close are houses to it? Are there public health considerations? The height of the mast, are they going to interfere with aircraft? Mr. Speaker?
Sound like a planner, man.
Huh?
You sound like a planner.
Well, I don't have to be the planner. I was the minister. I understand it. That's why we helped the honourable member from Christchurch South. Because he came in here unprepared, but in a spirit where nobody is supposed to question him. He liked to have it his way. Come in here, holler at people. He will be heard in silence. And if you don't hear him say, you can walk out, but you can walk out today. But you will hear public policy on energy today. And if it sticks in your craw, you will hear it. I hope it don't hang you like a fish bone. Because I want you to live a little longer. You got to take more lashes. Public policy lashes. The electoral lashes will come. Don't get worried. They will come. Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, those are the considerations that we have to be dealing with when it comes to the question of the regulator and the regulatory lag. In my judgment, does not have any interest at all and cannot be in any way inclined to follow the prescripts of the Democratic Labour Party, and that we should, to quote the Honourable Senator in the other place, hold back. I ain't holding back none, Mr. Speaker, sir. Let us get that clear. The Democratic Labour Party, sir, failed to make hay while sun shine, while sun shone. They brought the first effort at a new piece of legislation for the electricity sector. The Honourable Member for Christchurch East would have had to have inherited that piece of legislation. He will bear me out, sir. It was bereft of any regulatory environment. It was unfit for purpose. It was a rush job, Mr. Speaker, sir. And we can report today that we have the new regulations to the Electricity Supply Act, and that from October 2025, where we are now, Barbados is now ready, Mr. Speaker, sir, to publish its first request for proposals for battery energy storage in this country. We moved from ground zero, Mr. Speaker, sir. And yes, it has been a hard slog. Yes, it has taken time. But we have done where there was a defect in the regulatory environment, we have cured it. Where there was a need, sir, Mr. Speaker, sir, to facilitate in law the opportunity, sir, to have a request for proposals for battery energy storage, we have done that. And we can now publish Barbados next week, the first request for proposals. I believe it is next week. Don't hold me to that, sir, because I am not the minister. My understanding is that it should be about next week. Oh, Mr. Speaker, sir, what are we asking for? We are going to be asking for 60 megawatts of energy storage, which is at one time the first, let me repeat it again so that the gentleman on the other side can hear and digest. It's coming on to just after 12. I don't want to give him indigestion, sir, but his belly has to learn to take it. It is the first of its kind in the Eastern Caribbean. Where Labour leads, Mr. Speaker, sir, the people succeed. The first of its kind in the Caribbean, 60 megawatts procurement for battery storage, first in CARICOM. Mr. Speaker, sir, the model is being used by the rest of CARICOM. And the Caribbean Development Bank, sir, has indicated a willingness to help us, sir, by lending assistance to the Caribbean Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency as we complete that step. I spoke about wind energy, Mr. Speaker, sir. Also, an area not spoken to by the opposition. Though they want power, they do not want to be anything other than selective in what they bring to the people. Perhaps, sir, they would want to know that on the 18th of November, Mr. Speaker, sir, Barbados will see the expected launch of $180 million wind energy project at Lambert, St. Lucie. Originally, Mr. Speaker, sir, that project, when conceptualized, was about 10 megawatts. I believe the honourable member for Christchurch East will recall those days. It has now been scaled up to 50 megawatts, Mr. Speaker, sir, and investors still looking to come on board because there is an element of confidence creeping into the Barbados economy, an element of confidence, sir, that is reflected only this weekend when the credit rating of the country was carried to B+, sir. They don't want to talk about that. If it had been taken down, we would have heard the leader of the opposition all weekend. They carried it up. He does not have it within him to be magnanimous enough on behalf of the people of Barbados, of whom he numbers one, to say, well done, thou good and faithful servants. So that, Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to wind energy, we first broke ground in this sector, I think it was at Guinea in St. John, where there was a small project, 1 megawatt. That is the first onshore project that was done, again, under this government. Then, Mr. Speaker, sir, we now come to the large one, which will be at Lambert, and that is $180 million in investment, likely to be 60 megawatts, again, of wind being generated. And I am advised that the power purchase agreement for Lambert's is now completed, and embedded, Mr. Speaker, in that process will be another effort at democratizing renewable energy investment opportunity for the people of Barbados. The pledge of the Barbados Labour Party, sir, in energy is that we would take the ordinary citizen on this journey of energy transition and transformation with us. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to say again, it is our determination that we will avoid the practice of economic alienation that we saw when agriculture was king, when sugar was king, that we saw when tourism was the only other player, that we saw when international financial services came on board, Mr. Speaker, sir, and therefore we now come to the point where we are now going to come to the point where we create another method of democratizing this energy sector. What is that method, Mr. Speaker? The Ministry of Finance will soon come to this place with a piece of legislation to create and regulate a unit trust in Barbados. What is the unit trust going to be doing? First of all, Mr. Speaker, sir, it will be open to investors of all types. The cashier who working in the supermarket, sir, the lawyers in your law chambers, sir, the operators of public service vehicles, sir, whosoever will. Even the opposition, though he has no interest in resilience in our economy, though he has poo-pooed the idea of a sustainable economy, I suspect, knowing him, that he will not miss the opportunity to look after his pocket, and so he may be one of the first to come to the unit trust. And he will be welcome. This is a government that places no barriers in the way of our people, howsoever badly they behave. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is an opportunity to pool resources. Pool resources. Investors in the unit trust, sir, are not shareholders, they are beneficiaries. So this isn't about no corporate nothing. This is no, you, the individual, are a beneficiary. And Mr. Speaker, sir, the fund is managed professionally, and the investment, sir, the investment goals will have to be defined, the objectives are defined, and obviously, sir, there is a trustee who holds the fund manager accountable. The utility, Mr. Speaker, sir, has committed to the purchase of the power generated in the wind energy project. $180+ million in investment, Mr. Speaker, sir, supported by letter of credit from the Caribbean Development Bank. It is an unprecedented opportunity for all Barbadians, sir, to play a role in the energy sector. We are not just handing it to big investors, sir, who can come. There are some in the world who could come and put $180 million on the table and say, that is a for pocket. You know the for pocket in your suit, sir, the little small thing? That's the for pocket money that you want. Here, let me control the whole sector. We say no. We say there must be a role for everybody, Mr. Speaker, sir. And we say that we will democratize the sector. And wherever the opportunity arises, we continue to democratize the sector. We do not speak to this sector in silence, Mr. Speaker. We speak to this silence with a vision, this sector with a vision. We speak to this sector with a purpose. We speak to this sector with a determination to carry ordinary Barbadians along the journey with us. And we urge the Democratic Labour Party to get serious about it. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir, I talked about the energy transition and investment plan. And it is a simple thing. You go to the plan, sir, and you see it mapped out for you. Barbados needs ABC. Barbados expects XYZ level investment in sector ABC. So if it is housing and construction, what is the vision? How many houses are we looking to build? What is the likelihood, Mr. Speaker, sir, of a cost being able to be anticipated? You anticipate the cost. That is where, sir, you see if you're interested in making an investment in the energy sector, in housing, then construction, then, Mr. Speaker, sir, you know where to go. Transportation. What is it that we're looking to do? We have the EV buses. We want to have flex fuels for our motor cars. We also want to have more electric vehicles. We want to have more hybrids. We also have another subsector in there, Mr. Speaker. Again, you hear nothing from the Democratic Labour Party. But you know, Mr. Speaker, sir, that there are around the world, and indeed in Barbados, you already see some business popping up in it, where you are putting the power charging stations in place because people must refuel their charging infrastructure must be there to charge a car. That is an ideal sector, Mr. Speaker, for smaller players in the economy to participate. Job opportunities, business creation, new green jobs, sir. In every country where people seriously discuss productivity, these are the things that are being discussed. Yes, honourable member, do not raise your eyebrow in shock and surprise. Yes, read an Economist magazine, turn on CNN, do something to make yourself familiar with what's happening around the world. But the party he leads, sir, bankrupt of ideas and policy. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir, that energy transition investment plan now touches every sector of the Barbados economy. I urge him to go and have a look at it and to educate himself. It is called, loosely, sir, it is called the ETIP model. And I'm happy to say, sir, as the country's foreign minister, that the ETIP model is now recognized as an investor's best practice guide for all category of investor, whether the small domestic player, because we are now known as a country that is leading the renewable energy charge by carrying along the smallest of our citizens, as well as the largest of our citizens, as well as the foreign investing community, Mr. Speaker, sir. It is seen as an investment best practice and is cited now in energy fora globally. Globally. The honourable member likes to come in here and castigate the Prime Minister for flying boat, as though she's joyriding, picnicking and partying, according to him. But when you are able to have an energy transition investment plan in a world where everybody, bar none, I shouldn't say everybody except the Democratic Labour Party and Mr. Trump, are seeing the importance of the renewable energy environment, Then, Mr. Speaker, sir, in that world, you want to be able to position Barbados that when people talking about the way of the future, they talk about the Barbados model. It ain't the first time that we've succeeded in doing that. Anybody who has had to do any wage negotiations understands the importance of what they call the social partnership of Barbados. That we are the country that showed the world that you bring a private sector together with the public sector, together with the trade unions in a tripartite environment. The Minister of Labour, sir, every time he goes to Geneva or anywhere else on business, is regaled as being the representative of the country that led the world with a social partnership model. That has been the experience of the Honourable Member for St. James North when he served as ambassador in Geneva. Hold up your head, man. I know it is burdensome to have to take the lash. But I do this only to help you. Don't look at your watch, because I know start. Don't look at your watch. It doesn't make sense looking at your watch, because I know start. Your problem is, his problem is, Mr. Speaker, sir, that he doesn't understand that the people of Barbados have been through the rain. They went through the fire, they went through the rain, and they have no desire, Mr. Speaker, sir, to go back again. You don't understand that, sir? Huh? 10 years of pain. Huh? Yeah, that too. I don't know if you've heard that, Mr. Speaker, sir, being sung on the street corners of Barbados. Huh? I've been through the fire. I've been through the rain. I have no desire to go back again. The children dance to it now, Mr. Speaker, sir. Huh? Nobody wants to walk on a bed of thorns. Barefoot on a bed of thorns. No, Mr. Speaker, sir. I understand if the Energy Transition Investment Plan is not read by them, not understood by them, but it is, despite them, sir, it exists and it is a vital roadmap. And it is a roadmap, sir, that has nothing to do with their policy of holding back. I've never heard so much foolishness in my life. Hold back? Hold back what? The Energy Transition Investment Plan, Mr. Speaker, sir, speaks to this country in the context of cost-benefit analysis. If you do nothing, like the senator in the Democratic Labour Party has asked us to do, they tell you what the consequences will be, as opposed to acting in accordance with the investment plan. So that, for example, Mr. Speaker, sir, they use solar and wind energy as the model for the future. Barbados saves $16 billion between now and the year 2035. That is the projected savings to our economy, Mr. Speaker, sir. $16 billion with a B. And those people on the other side will tell you, sir, that we should hold back. $16 billion to be saved by continuing the way we are going in advancing energy security for this country, in cutting off our dependency on foreign exchange, on foreign imports, and our expenditure, sir, of foreign exchange, subject to the wild and outrageous fluctuations in prices, simply because somebody had a falling out in the Middle East, simply because somebody wants power in Europe. And we and our people have to pay that penalty, Mr. Speaker, sir. In other words, that we would be in an economy where it is 37% less expensive. That is the projection of the Energy Transition Investment Plan. In fact, now I think of it, sir, I believe, sir, that the honourable member may have read it. But such is the nature of the projection. So beneficial is it, and supportive of the purpose of the government is it, that he prefers to treat it as though it does not exist. The plan speaks, sir, to the driving of investment to the tune of $19 to $20 billion in new investment, sir. $19 to $20 billion in new investment, creating an estimated 1,500 jobs between now and the year 2035, sir. Green jobs. They believe And obviously these people are anticipating and they're looking at what we have done historically and looking at what is projected for the future, all things being equal. They can't give a prophecy, they can only give a prediction, sir. They believe, sir, that as against the business as usual scenario, we will be able to increase the rate of jobs in this country by 50%, 50. Oh, Mr. Speaker, sir, how does an opposition go into the other place and talk about holding back? When, if there's any entity, any sector to benefit in Barbados from this effort in renewable energy, it must be our young people. It must be the people who will be the generation of tomorrow. Jobs are being created in renewable energy today, sir, that did not exist when you came into this parliament. Jobs are being created in renewable energy, Mr. Speaker, sir, that did not exist. Hear what I tell you? When you walk up them stairs for the first time. So now, sir, we can talk to our young people and in school, and we can urge them in a direction of what the future would look like. Microgrid design. You know any microgrid designers, sir? Have you ever met one? I would wager not. Wind turbine technicians. Your Honourable Leader of the Opposition, you could send him down through Bridgetown, up and down. Ask him to find a wind turbine technician in Barbados. You find it amusing? He finds it amusing, Mr. Speaker, sir, because he basks in a lack of intelligence on the matter. There's no forward planning, there's no forward vision, there's no anticipation of what tomorrow will hold or what tomorrow will require. It is coming in here and skinning your mouth like a hyena. Yes, sir, we got some people who are now well advanced in PV, solar PV maintenance. But energy auditors, Mr. Speaker, sir, EV maintenance and repair, rapidly unfolding area. And then, Mr. Speaker, sir, especially